We have made great progress on our dragster. We're not quite yet done at this moment. There's two more things we need to do to the dragster. One is we need to add a protective hub right here, as we started to mention in the last video. This protective flare, or basically like a small wing, will protect the hub from when the dragster crashes into an abrupt stop, the towel at the end of the track. So we have to protect the wheels and the axles. So we need to design like a flaring or fairing that comes off the side here of the vertical wing. Additionally, on the undercarriage of the car, we need to design the screw eye holes where we're going to actually place the screw eyes so the dragster can be tethered to the track when it's fired off and races down the track. So we made good progress, but we got a few more things we need to get done at this time. So let's go ahead and get started. So first thing I want to do is go ahead and set myself to normal to the right side. I'm going to scroll up here and I'm going to place a sketch. But before I do that, let me think about this for a minute. Before I do that, before I place a sketch, I really need to see what it's going to look like when I put the wheels and the axle on the car. So let's go ahead and get that done first. Sorry to jump ahead there. So I'll come back over here to my parts library and I'm in parts now. I'll go ahead and drag and put a wheel out here. Excuse me, I put a washer out there. So I put the washer out there at the origin point that it was created. And then I will come up here and I'll go ahead and collapse the library there. And I'll take this arrow here and I'll pull this out. So what I need to do is go ahead and rotate this vertically at 200 and should be 270 degrees. Going key in 270, so it's there. Excellent. Now I'll go ahead and do a joint where I snap onto the, let me rotate this around. I'll snap onto the back side of the actual washer. Then I'll rotate around and I'll come up here and I'll snap on to the center of the axle hole circle. So we'll go ahead and place that there. That looks good. We accept that joint. Let's go ahead and place a wheel on there at this point. We'll put the simple wheel on there for now. We'll come back and design these more complex and interesting wheels later. So let's go find that simple wheel. There it is. So I'm going to grab it and I'm going to come out here and place it out here in the file. And again, it should place it at the origin point. So I'm going to rotate around just a bit and I'm going to take this and roll it over here to this area, just kind of getting in the area where it should be before I actually do the mate, the joint, so I can see it. Okay, so it's there. Let's go ahead again, do the J command for joint. So it's going to focus on that last part we placed in there, which is the wheel. Then we'll just grab the edge of the wheel, which should automatically put it center, and I grab the inside edge of the wheel, so that way it should mate up fine join up to the fine on the washer. So I'm going to grab this edge here of the washer, and it finds that center point for the joint. We'll go ahead and accept that. We'll roll out here and we'll kind of look at this. And so now we're going to go ahead and put this axle sleeve out on the car as well. So the axle sleeve is what we're going to use to hold the dragster wheel onto the axle. And we're going to use that with some super glue or CA glue. I'm kind of leaning right now towards actually CA glue and super glue are the same thing. I'm actually leaning towards epoxy. So we may try some epoxy on that two-part. So now I'm going to accept where I located that axle sleeve and do a joint on that. Now you can make this thing smaller if you wanted to, the axle sleeve. But for right now on this car, we're going to go ahead and just go with this one so we can get a feel for this flare we need to put off on the front of the body of the car. Okay, so now it's pretty well placed in there. I guess we could go ahead and put the axle in. So let's scroll down here and find the front axle. We'll drag it over here and place it. Now, if you recall, I did an extrude on midplane on that, so it may make a little bit more of a complex joint, but we're going to go ahead and accept its current location for now, and we'll figure out how we're going to actually place it. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to go ahead and just grab the front of the axle here, this part right there, just on that face. I'll come over here to this, and I'll grab the front of the sleeve and place it in there. Now it should protrude out the other side a little bit. Yeah, you can see it coming out a little bit over there. We can always adjust the length of the axle to our to suit our needs. But for now, let's go ahead and go back to kind of a three-dimensional view. We'll go up to the front, and from here we can see we need to put this fairing that comes out around and hides the axle sleeve. So that way, when the car hits the towel, it'll be protected. Also, take note of the fact how we designed this wheel, that it is also protected at the bottom, and you can see the location of the wheel in the center of this vertical wing to be placed. That's actually pretty good. So let's go ahead and look at it in more of a 3D view, and then we'll come over here and we'll rotate up and we will start designing our fairing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a sketch on this plane here, roll back over here, and I'll go ahead and create a circle, and I'm going to select the center of this right here, center of that axle, and then I'm going to go out here to this edge right there, and that'll be the basis of the start of my circle. Okay, that's the start of my fairing. So now what I'm going to do is, again, in the spirit of trying to create lift, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a construction line in here, and I'm just going to draw a horizontal construction line like so. And I'm going to place a tangent constraint on this to this circle. Didn't think it worked there, so I guess we'll try that again. Okay, I'll roll out here. I'm going to go to the trim command and get rid of that line I just placed in there. And I'm thinking I'm going to just go ahead and draw this construction line from about here. I'll come out to about this far there, just to kind of see where it's at. Okay, I see that now. And I will go ahead and change to wireframe view so I can kind of see it a little bit better because the colors are throwing me off. And I will go ahead and do a side view. This is getting pretty complicated here. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so I see my body line there. I see this other file, other sketch right there. I'm going to take him out too. So we're going to go ahead and, again, attempt a constraint on this surface here, and that made a that gave us a tangent joint to that construction line. That's a good thing. Okay, so now I'm going to, so I know where it's at. I'm going to go ahead and extend that construction line here to that fairing. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw a spline. I'm just going to come up to about, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I have snap on. Yep, got snap grid on. I don't need that. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to draw this fairing to about right there. And I'm going to come over to somewhere in this area here for that spline. I'm going to hit enter. So that kind of gives me an idea where I'm projecting that. Now let's go ahead and take that spline we just created, and we're going to turn that to a solid line. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and grab another spline. I'm going to snap to, or find that very corner right there, place a line on that, roll out, and I'm going to come down somewhere about right here, and then I'll come over to about right there. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and then I'll take that guy and I will turn him into a solid line as well. Now let's get out of let's go ahead and get out of wireframe and go back to shaded with visible edges only. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and hit my trim command. I'm going to trim out that circle right there, and I'm going to hit the trim command again, and I'm going to, I guess I need to key it in, TR for trim. I think I might have accidentally removed it. So now I'll come up here and trim this, and I'll come down here and trim this as well. And that's taking care of that, and that's taking care of this. Okay, so now I'll scroll out a little bit, and I'm going to get rid of this part of the circle here, this part of the circle here, and this part of the circle there. So that's a pretty good looking shape. So I'm going to come over here to the front view, and I'm going to go ahead and turn just a little bit to the right like you see there, excuse me, to the left. I'll hit the extrude command again, turn our bodies off, turn our sketches on, and there's we can see it. So I hit the extrude command, I'll do a front view here. Let's go ahead and set to a front view. And I'll extrude this out to about right. Really can't see it too well. I think I'm actually off. Yeah, I'm doing good here. So I'm turning the body back on. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at this better now, like this. So yeah, I've extruded it out quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and come back to where I'm just barely, as you see here, past the hub. So that was 1 point. I'm going to write that number down so we can use it for the other side. So that is 1.5603. Probably it would be easier if we just said 1.55. Hit enter. That's going to work just fine. I like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this now in 3D. We can see we've got a fairing started right there. I'm liking that. That looks really good. Okay, we'll stop for now and come back and do the other side. Okay, now to get this particular shape right here on this side of the vertical wing here from the right side, I'm going to introduce a new command. And what I'm going to do, and I probably should have done this on when I first drew that vertical wing, it made it a lot easier. So what I'm going to do is I've got a sketch. Let's start over here real quick. I'm going to get out of the sketch, start a new sketch, exit that. So we're going to say new sketch, and I can select this plane, or I can select that surface right there, and that's the one I want. So I'm going to do that, scroll around, and I'm going to come do this command called project. So I'm going to grab this guy right here, and then I'm going to say it says select geometry. So I'm going to come up and grab this line. I'm going to grab that line and that arc right there. So if I rotate around, you can see that it's projecting that geometry onto that face. So I'm going to hit OK. And we already know, because we wrote it down, that we want to extrude this 1.55. So it's the same as the opposite side. Okay, let's roll up on this and take a look at it. Turn the sketches off so you can kind of see it better. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That's what we really need to have. Okay, so now we'll come back to this in a moment, and we'll do some filleting to make this look even better. Now what I want to do is blend this little wing we just made back into the vertical wing you see here. I'm going to kind of make it just blend in at an angle, probably an arced angle. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate the car over to the bottom, and I'm going to create a new sketch, and I will select that bottom right there. We'll roll up here. I'm going to go ahead and place a center line from here up to here. And once I've got that center line in, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to place another line. I'll go about right here up to about right there. So let me roll up on this, and I'm going to continue that sketch over here, an arbitrary length. I'll hit enter on that. Go ahead and trim off that one burr that I left there. And now what I'm trying to do is do a lines, because I need an intersection line that I can snap onto for my spline. So I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to try to, found it. Now I'm going to come straight up here in the 90-degree axis, and I'll just come up to where I intersect there. Looks great. We're a little off right there. I'll see if I can move it over to where it's collinear to that face. I don't know if that's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. I'm still in the line command. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to see if I can make those collinear. Apparently I can't. Well, that's okay. I'm going to roll out here again. And let me see if I can do a coincident joint. Grab this. Grab this surface here. Ah, like that better. I like that too. So now we'll come over here and do a trim. We'll get rid of this one piece there. That's fine. Now let's roll out and let's draw us a spline starting at that one little corner point right there. I'll roll out here to about, I don't know, about right there. I'll keep coming. I'll put in a line about right there. And I don't think it took, so we're going to try that again. Escape, go back to the spline command, grab that point. Just going to grab a point there, and I'll roll up to possibly this area there. I like that. Enter. So that way we got that in there. So I'll draw a line over from this spline to this edge to create a closed shape. And I'll go ahead and hit my T command for trim. I'll trim out that. So it looks like I've got a nice closed shape. Well, remember we put this center line in. We put that center line in because we want to mirror, move this up, we want to mirror this shape here. I'll unselect this. Okay. Want to mirror this shape over to the opposite side. Okay, so put it over there. So that looks good. So it looks like we've got a shape we can project up to make that fine looking blended edge. So hit the E key to extrude. Hold my shift key down, get that E key. And then we're going to come flying up past this. Make sure we cut all that out. Make sure I get this guy too. Get him as well. Hit OK. And it will go out there and make that blended cut. Did a great job. Now I like that. So let's go back and look at it in kind of the 3D and then rotate up to the front view. So there it is. So it put that nice blended front piece up there. I like that. So we can come back in if we want to, and we could blend that in some more. I'm honestly just going to leave it the way it is. I think it looks good as it is. I don't think we need to put a fillet on everything, even though I'm kind of prone to do that. But that does look really good. Okay, we'll stop here for now. Okay, the next thing we need to do is we need to design the holes where we're going to place our screw eyes for our CO2 dragster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up the competitive events guide and take a look at that. So in the competitive events guide, it talks about screw eyes. You got to have 2 screw eyes, in your car, no more. And screw eyes must not make contact with the racing surface. That's an important one because several times I've seen cars do that. So the inside diameter is anywhere from 3 to 5 millimeters. So if we buy a standard Pisco screw eye, we can get away with that, or we can actually make our own. But here's the key thing we're looking for right here. It's the minimum distance. So the minimum distance is at least 150 millimeters. I think we'll be fine with that because this is a very long car. But let's get into doing that now. So I'm going to go back to the dragster, and I'm going to rotate up to the bottom of the car. I'm going to select that surface there. Again, if I need to, I can rotate it around where it's horizontal so I can see it a little bit better. So here's my front wheel and the axle itself. And you can see right here on this surface, that's where it starts to slope up to the tip of the front of the car. And then, of course, this whole back surface is flat. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to go ahead and create a sketch on that surface. Again, let me rotate this view around. I'll select this surface here. Let's do a sketch there. And I'm going to place a circle somewhere right in here. And I'm not really sure what that dimension on that circle should be. So I'm just going to go ahead and place a 4 millimeter circle just to see what we've got here. Now I'm going to go back over to my parts library. So I'll open this up. And I'm going to check on my parts. I'm going to double click on the screw eye here because I can't remember what that was. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that part and take a look at it and get the spinning wheel out of the way first, and then it'll open up the part. So we'll wait here patiently while it does that, I guess. So taking a while, that's for sure. So there it is. So there's the screw eye. Well, the quickest way to find out that diameter is to just come up here and grab this one surface and do a measurement on that. And it says basically it's 0.5 millimeter on the radius. That's 1 millimeter in diameter. Not a problem. Let's go back to the dragster body itself, and we'll go ahead and we'll turn that window off of our file view. We'll come up here and we will select this right here, and we'll say 1 millimeter. Yeah, 1 millimeter is fine. So we'll put a 1 millimeter hole in there. Now, there's a couple of thoughts on how to do this. I'm going to go ahead and show you the generic standard way. So now what I'm going to do is I'll come out here and I'll go back to the back of the car. Somewhere around here, we'll snap onto that center line and we'll draw us a 1 millimeter line again. Now, let's dimension that so we can figure out what we're going to do. Remember, hit your D key to automatically get into dimensioning. Okay, again, hit your D key to automatically do dimensioning. Let me grab this, hit the D key. We'll come up to this 1 millimeter circle that we've already drawn right here. We'll try to get that white to highlight, roll out here, that little circle white part, come over here to this guy here, hit the same thing, and we'll come off. Oh yeah, we're fine. It said minimum distance was 150, so I'm going to key in, say 180, just for get it all straightened out there. So double click on this and zoom out. So this is one method. You come in here and you place your screw eye circle in. That's one method of doing that. And I'm going to go ahead and at this time I'm going to do an extrude. Let me turn my sketches back on here. And the sketches on. Go back up here. And our sketches are on. So I'll select this one circle here. Zoom up closer. Select that circle. Just rotate it around a little bit and get that circle to highlight. That's not one to highlight. So let me come back out here a little bit. Oh, there we go. I'll select that guy there. Select him here. Roll back out. You get a lot of stuff in your files. They get a little slower. So let's do an extrude. And I'm going to go up, I'll say 10 millimeters in the negative. So that way it'll cut. Okay. So 10 millimeters up. So I put that hole in there. That looks good. Zoom out here, come over to the front, go find that sketch again, and I will highlight this here, edit it. Okay, and it should show that sketch. There it is, right there on the front. Okay, no problem. So I will select this, hold my shift key down, select that as well. Get that to highlight. There we go. Go back to our three-dimensional view here. I'll hit the E key to extrude. And I'm going to say negative 10. Okay. So I extrude that. And let's see if it goes through the top of the car. Nope, it didn't go through the top of the car, but probably came close. So we'll do a side view of this. We'll go back to one of our analysis views, which was up here. Extend that out. Select this guy here and turn that on. Okay, yeah, it almost came through the top of the car. Now, there's a couple trains of thought about screw eyes. You can put your screw eyes in just like that, and you can glue them in, and they'll be fine. However, hitting that towel going 57 to 60 miles an hour could be a problem. So there is another technique that you can use that will keep the screw eye in probably better than a vertical cut like you're seeing here. And we'll come back to that method in a moment. Okay, here's the second method I was alluding to in the last video about putting a screw eye into the car. I'm going to leave this zoomed out just a little bit so you can kind of see that where those screw eyes actually are. See how they're going up vertically. One train of thought is to put the screw eyes in at maybe a 60 to 45 degree angle and then bend the screw eyes down where they're vertically to the floor or the surface of the racetrack. I kind of like that idea because when you're going really, really fast, if that bent screw eye gets hit, it's going to be next to impossible to rip it out. I've seen screw eyes come out exactly like you're seeing placed here. So let's try that method. Let's go ahead and select this last feature here, and we will delete that. And sure I got my analysis turned off. Okay, and with the analysis turned off, I'll collapse that. Okay, and I'm going to select these I'll go ahead and select the sketch, and I'll select the those features there. I'll do a right mouse click, and I'll say delete. Okay. Okay, now that we've got the vertical screw eye holes deleted, we're going to come back in and draw a 45-degree angle screw eye hole. So I'll select the mid plane, or excuse me, the right plane to draw upon. Then I'll come over here and I'll find that very edge where that curve is right there, and I'm going to come up and just draw a line. I'll say 48 is fine. The one thing that is important I'm looking for is the 45-degree angle. So I've got that 45-degree angle placed in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish that sketch out, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to construct plane along path. So I'm going to select this path here, and I'm going to take that plane and I'm going to move it down to the very end of that path right there. So that way I can draw a circle and then extrude cut it up 10 millimeters. So that looks good. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate around, and you can see that plane and where that intersection point is right there where I want to go up 10 millimeters. So I'm going to do another sketch, and I'm going to select this plane, and I'm going to draw myself, this time I'm going to draw like a 1.15 millimeter hole. And I'll put that in, and let's see if that went in. It looks like it, oh, didn't go in. Hang on a second. Let's get that in correctly. I'll say 1.15. Put that in. Okay, there's the circle right there. I can see it now. So now I'm just going to kind of rotate it at a bit of an angle here, and I'm going to do an extrude, which I hit my E key to do the extrude. I'll find that shape here, and I'm going to extrude it. Now you notice there's like a faint, kind of like a dull blue line there. I'm going to go ahead. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to go ahead and do my direction as a two-sided direction. So I'm going to rotate around a little bit more. Let's do that. I'm going to extrude it down a little bit to cut away. And then that's going to go like 2.62 millimeters. And in this direction here, I'm going to go the opposite direction, 10 millimeters. That's perfect. So that's what we wanted to see, is that hole that comes in at that 45-degree angle, where I can actually mount my screw eye into that. So let's go ahead and do a section analysis on that. I'll turn this on, definitely. And you can see that that hole went this direction. Now, I went a little too far. I didn't want to go to the top of the car. That's easy to fix. We'll come back over here. We'll edit that feature. And instead of going 100 millimeters, which is a bit much, we might just say 10. I like that better. So we'll go 10 millimeters. Good. That looks good. So we've got that in there. And now we're going to do the same thing on the opposite end. So I'm going to scroll out here, and I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to do it on this plane. And I'm going to start here at the opening of the front screw eye hole. I'm going to come back this direction, and hey, that's perfect, 180 millimeters. That's exactly what I was looking for. I'll hit enter, put that in, so that's in there. I'm going to take that line I just drew, and I'm going to turn that into a construction line. So that way there's no confusion as to what kind of line that is. So let me select that. Okay, looks like we got it already as a construction line. Make double sure that is. Okay, it's good. Construction it is. So now I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to draw another line. This time it's going to be a solid line. And I'm going to start at that point, the 180 millimeter point, and I'm going to go, let's just go, I want to go way up there. So I'm going to go, let's say 80 millimeters. And then what I'm going to do is hit my tab key, and I'll change it to 45 millimeters on my angle. That's important. Okay, it's good. All right. So let's go and do the same process we did with the plane along path. And we'll go ahead and finish that sketch. Make sure our sketches are seen. That's good. Sketch, plane along path. Give it a moment to come up. I'll select that path. And then I'll take this guy down to the very base of that. It looks like it changed rotations. I didn't want it to do that. So let's cancel that real quick. Let's select that path. Okay, I got it. I'm going to come down here to, oh, I see what it's doing. It's rotating based on that angle. That's fine. That's fine. Let's keep going. Let's make sure we get it on there. See if we can move that down just a little bit further. Keeps rotating in that angle. So I'm going to leave it about right there. And that's fine. I'm going to hit OK. And I'll see if I can come back and modify that. To modify it, I'm going to edit that sketch again. I'll hit Edit Sketch. I'll come in with my trim command. And I'll take out that one line there so it doesn't rotate around that edge. So I took that out. Now I'll come back over here, constraints, and okay, I got you, I understand, that's fine. So now I'm going to come back to this, and I hit Finish Sketch. I'll come back to this and see if I can move that plane down to that one feature right here on this line. So I'll select this. I'll come all the way down to the very base. It worked. Hit OK. So it's in there now. So let's rotate around a little bit here, and I'll set to create another sketch. I'll set it normal to that face. Roll up here, hit my circle by center command. Find that hole. There it is. We'll say the diameter is going to be 1.15 millimeters. Hit Enter. Okay, that looks good. We'll go ahead and go to a 3D view. Roll up here a little bit. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit my extrude command. I can find that thing. There it is. And I'm going to go, again, a two-sided extrude. The first side I'm going to go down. It's probably plenty good right there. The second side, again, we'll select this. Say 10 millimeters. Perfect. Got it. All right. Now, you may need to make these a little longer, like maybe 12 or 13, because your screw eye itself is that far. I'm kind of inclined not to do that, so I can take the tip of the screw eye and screw it into the body of the car with some epoxy lathered on it too. All right, that looks great. So again, we'll bend our screw eyes down where they're actually at a 90-degree angle. They'll look great. I'm good with this. So let's go ahead and turn off our section analysis and see where we stand now. Okay, sketch is off. Collapse that. And we'll turn our sketches off. And let's go ahead and turn those off. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Go kind of a 3D view. So I think our car body is pretty well done. Now it's going to come down to assembling the car itself and a little bit of house cleaning here. Let's collapse some of these sketches here. Let's go down and take these parts out that we no longer need. So I'm going to take all these out here, do a right mouse click and hit delete. So, features of the timeline. Okay, I understand. So, looks like we've got everything in there. I think we got a little bit of a warning, but I think the sketch probably is okay. So, just to check, I'll come back up here and I'll do a, I'll edit that sketch. And let's see what it's missing here. Okay, I went ahead and checked on this sketch right here. It's missing a reference piece of geometry from one of the parts that I had used earlier for the wheels to draw one of these arcs, and it's not going to affect the car as far as our ability to 3D print or to even CNC out this car. So we're actually okay. So the next thing we need to do is go ahead and create the assembly of this particular dragster here. We'll come back to this in the next video.